Thanks for listening to the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast, where each week we talk about a free piece or two of technology that you can use in your classroom. I'm your host, Shanna Martin. I'm a middle school teacher, technology coach, and personalized learning coordinator for my district.
And I'm her producer and husband, Fuzz.
Hi.
Hello.
It's been a while.
It has been a minute.
We had a nice little break.
It was. I feel like it was months ago that we did this, but it was only
A couple weeks.
a few weeks, yeah.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Episode
77. Lucky number 7.
Sort of. Well, yeah.
7.
But yeah, it's a new year.
7.
We're in 2021 now.
Yep,
Got some new tools.
we do.
They're so fun.
I mean, we don't have any new tools for the podcast. We just have new tools on the podcast. We haven't bought like any cool new tools for podcasting.
I don't even know what you're talking about this point.
I don't know. Trying to
But yeah.
coax you to let me buy stuff while
No, we don't need to buy anything. Yeah, so many things. So yeah, we finished 2020
Yes.
and I've had so many meetings with teachers. That's the thing, is I've met with so many teachers and done so many different things from December until now that I have so many tools. Now I'm like, have I talked about that on the podcast, or have I talked about that with other staff members and collecting all these things? And I have a student teacher starting in another week.
Yeah.
And she'll be like jumping in and teaching with me, and there's just so many fun things going on. So this week, because there's so many fun things, there's been a lot of collaboration lately with working with, digitally working with people, but not just Zoom sessions and Google Meets and stuff, but actually, speaking of collaboration, over break on New Year's with your friends.
Oh, yeah.
We did the coolest thing because none of our families can get together, and one of the families actually is another like teacher, so we don't want to like intermix people.
Yep.
And so we Zoomed minute to win it games,
And
where every family had their Google Meet up, and we all had the supplies, and we were competitive over Google Meet, and it was the coolest thing.
It was pretty fun. It was I think my favorite of them, there were a bunch of favorites, like the putting a Kleenex box strapped around the waist of our little one with cotton balls filled in the back of the empty Kleenex box, and her having to jump around and shake her booty until the cotton balls fell
and after a
out.
minute, she dropped 2. She was trying so hard, but didn't really work.
The pantyhose on the head with a golf ball in it to knock down water bottles was pretty fun. So it was a fun game.
It was
a fun event, and I'm glad we did it.
Yeah, so props to Jay and Jill. What?
Yeah.
But anyway, so collaboration, like digitally, however you can do it now, I think we're finding new ways, and you gotta keep it fun. So this week, it's like fun things, very useful in your classroom, but also very like engaging.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one is Yo Teach.
Yo Teach. Collaborate.
Collaboration.
I was
It's
waiting for you
bad.
to sing. I was waiting for you to sing the Vanilla Ice song because we are so cold down here in the basement at the
It's so
moment.
cold today. We're both wrapped in blankets.
I wanted to say ice is back.
That would have been amazing. So, okay. So we're doing Yo Teach, one
Yep.
of our first sites we're talking about today. And then we're going to talk about Digo, which is an extension.
Okay.
And then we're going to talk a little bit about Scribble.io.
Fi Scribble.io.
So,
there was
yeah,
another
just fun.
Scribble.io, and we'll talk about it coming up. But it's another one of those kinds of things like Minute to Win It that I did with a bunch of coworkers going into the holidays. But you can use it in your classroom, and it's pretty cool. We'll talk about it coming up.
Yeah. Yay. So our first one, Yo Teach.
Yo Teach.
It's been around, not like a super long time, but it's been out there because I feel like everyone's always trying to find a back channel for chat, and they keep like coming and going, like, oh cool, I found another one, and then it goes away, and then you're like, oh cool, I found another one, and then that one goes away. So Yo Teach has been there for a while, but it's super fun, and people used to use like Today's Meet, and they even have it on their site, like the new alternative to Today's Meet, where you could have your back channel chat. So Yo Teach is very easy to set up. You can have your own teacher account, and you can set up your own rooms, or you can just literally create a back channel really quick, and like you and I were messing around with this earlier, but you just go do create your room as a teacher on their homepage, which is really easy to do. And then you create your little password for people to enter. So if you have students entering your chat, and then it creates like a back channel chat. So if you want to have conversations, but also if you're doing virtual teaching or you've got kids in school and kids at home, what's kind of cool is this way kids can really interact easily with one another. You could even have this chat up on, say, your screen in your classroom, or if you are, if you switch to present mode, like if you're in Google Meet, you can have this up and people can be watching conversation, having conversation. But what I really like about this one is not only can you chat back and forth, but you have other options. So you can upload photos, and then I like that they have like a whiteboard option. So while you're chatting, if you click on, there's like a little square, like the chat on the right hand side. You click the little square that looks like a little pencil on it, and you like they have it. You title everything around here, and you title it. It takes you to a whiteboard space where you can draw and you can type and you can interact with one another and have conversations or explain things or draw things out, and everyone can be on the same screen at the same time collaborating with one another. So it's a really great way where if you're explaining math or you're drawing diagrams, or I do these horrible pictures when I'm trying to talk to the students and explain, like, this bridge looks like this, and they're like, what are you talking about? And I start drawing stick figures and like, oh yeah, that totally makes sense. And I don't know if they actually believe me or if they're just like, stop drawing, please stop drawing. But it's just a great way where you can a great collaboration space for students and teachers, whether you're virtual or face-to-face or a combination of both. It's really easy to use and free, which is awesome. I also like that you can upload photos. So it's kind of cool just because kids are like, oh, like if you're playing like scavenger hunt in your house, or you're like doing icebreakers or getting conversations going, or like everyone go outside and like, what's the snow look like today, or XYZ. So it's just kind of cool. There's a lot of options with YoTeach, and they even have a space where you can enable voice recording, so you can put audio in, which is as it's reading to me. So you have that option as well, and then there's admin tools and all that kind of stuff where you can control what's going on.
Nice.
Which is pretty cool. So
and people can raise their hand to get your attention.
So that's the other thing you and I are playing around with, that you click on the little raise your hand and it highlights the text like, hey, I need help with this, or it's a question. Just a lot of really cool options, and
you can reply in the thread to that person then, and
and other kids can like see questions like, oh, I have that same question,
right? So I don't have to ask you also
like 15 more times,
because there it is,
right? So YoTeach, what a very cool collaborative tool, and very useful for.
Was it AC Slater that used to say "Yo, teach"?
Yes. Saved by the Bell.
Yo, teach. Does anybody watch that on the new?
You can watch
Peacock?
it.
Well, there's the new one. I think it's on Peacock. The new NBC thing that stole The Office back from Netflix.
Right. End of the world.
So I never. By the way, I never got through the end of The Office. I had a goal, I had it all year. Like I had, we were here
doing nothing,
and I watched so many different shows and never finished season 9 of The Office.
I thought we finished.
We didn't.
No. It felt like we did. It was like forever.
It got long. I mean, I'm sure it's great. Yes, it's a great show. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
On that note, our next website, actually it's a Google extension. So it is called Digo, Diggo. I guess I never was clarified.
Iigo?
Sorry, yep. Let's go back.
Dii.
So I was going back to YoTeach. It's YoTeach app.com.
Okay,
so you all know.
App.
So YoTeachApp.com. Oh, and we also, so YoTeachApp.com. Okay, now on to what I was talking about. Digo is DIIGO.com. But it's an extension. So you put the extension on your Chromebook or any other computer. Mine's on my Mac. And once you install the extension, there's so many cool tools. So you click on it, and then you have, you can, basically the whole purpose of this site is to help you annotate while you're reading. So if you are reading an article in class, or if your students are doing some reading or research on their own, and they are maybe working on a group project, or maybe you gave them a topic and they need to dig around a little deeper, that kind of stuff. So what's really cool is you can like bookmark the website. You can read and annotate the site as you're reading it. So you go to a website with words on it.
So smartandwi.com.
Yeah. So go to your website, and I was playing around with my site with this before. So you go to the website that you want to read, and you click the little extension, and you click read and annotate, and then it pulls up your website that you're reading and takes out all the pictures and all the extra stuff.
Yep.
So it's just going to be
The text.
And then from there, you're able to, you get like a little toolbox, and you can highlight and you can use highlights and sticky notes like as you're reading.
So it's kind of like if you're like highlighting a book or something like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So while you're reading. So then you can highlight and annotate. And what it's cool is it gives you this little box over on the side, and it's called like an outliner.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can take your text and drop it right into the outliner. So like as you're reading, you can create your own outline and have that all.
Sure.
And then share that.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So you don't have to spend all this extra time. I mean, like a lot of times I use Google Keep.
Yeah.
Or like
Google Docs.
or something. But this will just drop it all. You just click on the little like extension, and then you pick it, and you click on the outliner, and then you can drop all your information into the outliner, and you can put pictures. You can take pictures from the website and drop them into the outliner.
Cool.
And then you can do all of that stuff, and then you can share it. So then you click the little share, and then you can drop it through email, or you can share it out like on social media and stuff too if you want to.
So if you're reading like if you had your kids doing short stories.
Mm-hmm. Well, I do it when I read nonfiction.
Oh, sure.
I mean, like when we're researching anything for social studies.
Yeah.
Like right now, that's what the immigration projects. So they have to collect information on their people, and they have to put it all in one place.
Yeah.
And you can, what's cool is these little sticky notes. You can like mark things, and you can highlight in different colors. And what's also cool about it, and this is a feature that I know a lot of teachers are always looking for, you can annotate PDFs with it.
Oh, cool.
And there are other ones we've talked about. Like we've talked about Kami before. But certain ones, once you get too far, then you have to pay for it. And this one right now, you don't have to pay for it. So you can put your PDF in, and then you can highlight and annotate a PDF.
There's another tool that you can highlight and annotate PDFs in that you told me teachers don't like. So, and that's Evernote.
Well, it's not that teachers don't like it. Most teachers don't have access to it.
Oh. Well, I mean, but there's a free version.
There is, but then like when you're doing all your Google tools and things like that, it's just
yeah. But I mean, you can
not commonly used.
You can annotate.
Some schools use it.
Yeah,
but
I use it for note taking, even though I have all the Google Suite and all that, and Keep, because it's just a little bit more feature rich than Keep, and it's quicker for me to start notes and such. But anyway.
Anywho. But with this one, you're able to annotate PDFs, and all your tools are right there, and then you can just share it out with your students. Or students can be annotating their articles, and then they just share it right to you or drop it to your classroom. So you don't have to have that weird, like, I don't know where to put it once it's done.
Yep.
You can just email it, share it, delete it, download it. Like, it's all right there. So Diigo. Very cool. You can also annotate screenshots, and there's just a lot of options with it. So a lot of tools and options all right there, which is really cool.
Yeah,
so,
and again, it's a Chrome extension.
It's a Chrome extension. Yep.
Diigo.
Correct.
Diigo.
Tiddy. Yeah, and it also houses all your stuff too in a little library, so you can like keep all your things together too, which is cool.
Nice.
So yeah, check it out. Yay. So our third site goes along with our little collaboration-y things, because stop collaborating and drawing.
Oh.
I try. It's really bad today. We're just going to just embrace it and move
forward. No, it was really great, sweetie.
So Scribble.io.
Yes.
It's a fun little collaborative drawing site.
It is. It's kind of like Pictionary online. It is like
It is
Pictionary.
Pictionary.
It's Pictionary.
So,
They have
and well, you've done it with your coworkers, and
Right.
like from a teacher-student perspective, it's a little different than your experience with it.
right. So you have to do a few things to
It's
start. One.
skribbl.io, by the
Yes.
way.
So
weird.
Scribbly.io, Scribble.io.
Yeah. But there's
But
no
without
like, E.
the E on the
yeah,
end of
so it's
Scribble.
skribbl
Scribblio.
period
Yeah.
io.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
now, one thing is you can only have, I believe it's 8 people play.
I thought it was 12.
It
but
may be 12. Maybe it's
you
12.
can't, unless you have a really small class, basically.
But so you're gonna have to do separate groups if you're gonna do this. 1, 2. You have to create a private room to do this in. You don't want your students going into the public rooms, because I hadn't experienced this until I was showing Shanna tonight how to use it, and we were playing in a public room, and of course there were
inappropriate
things happening.
What's interesting though, so I did actually start opening this up with one of my students before break.
Yeah.
And I was getting it all set up, because what is cool is you can load in the words.
Yeah.
So I was loading in vocabulary that applied like things that we were learning about.
Right.
So when you create your own room, you can put in your own vocabulary or your own game, basically,
Yes.
for the students to play.
Yeah, and that's what we did for right before the holidays. We did that with one of my work groups at work. We had loaded in like holiday themed stuff, so like icicles and or it was like, I don't know.
Snowflake.
Yeah,
Wreath.
exactly, all
Yeah.
those things, and it gives you like the number of lines across the top of the screen that coincide with the amount of letters that'll be up there, and if you type it in, or if somebody types in a guess, it will fill in the if they get a letter in the right spot, it'll fill that in, so you can.
And you can see it along the right-hand side. Like there's kind of like
Yeah.
a chat feature on the side, so you can see what other people have guessed.
Yeah, so
too.
when you open up the room, one person gets to pick which word they're going to draw
Out of
and
your list
out of
that
your
you've
list,
already preloaded.
Exactly, out of your list, it'll give you three choices. They click on the choice that they want, and then they start drawing, and the other people start guessing in the chat window. If that person gets it right, it'll say like Shanna got it right, or Shanna had the correct guess, and otherwise you will see the incorrect guesses, and then
Go
it gives
from
you
there,
points
yeah.
based on who got it first, how fast it was, and if you were the drawer, you get points if everybody got everything.
Right.
If everybody was able to find
And if
it.
you want to do this with a bigger group, because I think that's the whole thing. Like you could do it with small groups if you do like little things, or you could do like a station or something like that. But if you want to do it with bigger groups, you can load in. You can create more than one group
Yep.
and load in your word list just into each
Right.
group.
Yeah, just copy and paste.
So
the
you
list
could
of
have like, say, half the class here and maybe half the class is virtual. That would be fine. Like they can all play. You just load in your same vocab list into the 2 or 3 different sections
Yep.
that you set up to do the free version of
Yep.
it. So
And you and so then they get a link, and they click that link and type in their name and go. So
yep, or a code name. either
yeah,
way.
exactly. And it's fun, and you can set the number of rounds, how many seconds they get, all that kind of stuff, and then at the end of it, it tells you who got the most points. It can get pretty competitive. It's
Yeah.
pretty fun.
It'd be a great way to do like a brain break or just build some
Yeah.
community in your classroom. Again, it's like collaborative space. It's kind of fun and interactive, and you don't have to play forever. You know, they go really quickly, so it'd be like quick 5 minutes
Yep, exactly.
and try it out and go.
Do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one tip for you though is if you're going to do like 3 rounds and you have 12 kids playing, you need to make sure you have at least 36 words.
Right, because it goes, the
Yeah.
more words, because they have options to pick from. And
Right. And otherwise repeats will keep coming up. So
Right. Cool.
there you go. It's
Look
my-
at our fun collaborative tools.
Yes. Thank you for
Collaborative.
stopping listening as we collaborated.
You stop listening. I think you are listening.
Oh, yeah.
Don't stop
Stopping
listening.
here at the podcast, sitting down, listening to us.
And now go collaborate with
collaborate.
your students, peers, friends.
In about 47 seconds, we'll be
staff.
done, and then you can stop listening and go collaborate.
Well, I hope everyone has a good start to 2021. And thanks for tuning in. This has been the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast. If you ever have any questions, you can find me on Twitter at SmartNWI. And if you want to get more information on the links to the technology discussed in the episode, visit smartnwi.com. New episodes each week. Thanks for listening. Go educate and innovate.
The ideas and opinions expressed on this podcast and the Smart and WI website are those of the author, Shanna Martin, and not of her employer. Prior to using any of the technologies discussed on this podcast, please consult with your employer regulations. This podcast offers no guarantee that these tools will work for you as we've described, but we hope they do, because that's why we do the show. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you again soon on the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast.